and thanks for tuning in to the Busted Knees and Pretty Trees podcast. We're back in the studio. I am 1/3 of this beloved podcast and your host, Travis J. White. With me, just now stepping out from the shadow cast by his own son's overnight rise to podcast stardom, I would like to introduce proud father, Patty Richardson.
Oh, I am a proud father. That was the highlight of my parenthood life.
That was a cool episode.
Yeah, thanks for that.
How did Sebastian feel about it?
He has been raving about it. He enjoyed it. Once we aired the episode last week, this past week, he wanted me to send it to everybody we knew, and was waiting on their responses. It was awesome, dude. That was cool. Awesome
for sure. And of course, we have our third man. Have you been a bit grumpy? Got a hitchhiker in your boot? Not feeling like yourself? Well, grab a Snickers from our guy, Bradley Greer, because sometimes he brings extras. How you doing, Brad?
Every now and then I bring extras.
It's like a blessing when he comes over and he's like, hey, I got a Snickers. And you're like, oh, man, like that is exactly what I didn't know I needed.
This is when on trail, not in everyday life.
That's awesome. What a treat.
Yeah.
What a treat.
Yeah, I think when somebody pops out something you didn't expect, at the right moment, you're like, yeah.
Dude, and
sharing is caring.
Chocolatey, caramelly, gorgeousness.
I did have a nice little treat for me waiting when I got home today. My Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Geographic map.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
You got a Secchi map?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How does that come folded?
Like a kind of like a pamphlet.
Okay.
Yeah, you've seen the maps.
You flip through it?
Don't
roll
the
huge.
maps.
Like it folds open to a huge map of the whole park. And usually one side is like the whole park view. And then the other side has like little zoomed in trails.
And these are like super durable.
Yeah. They're waterproof
maps.
And everything.
Dude, Secchi has a map.
How big is it?
I would say it's like 3 foot by 2 foot. 2 foot by 3 foot.
Size map.
It's a pretty darn good sized map. I mean, this is the map that you take on trail. When they say have a map, this is the map you get.
Yeah.
It is waterproof. Oh, hello, News Panther.
There he is.
All right.
Time for some news, Bradley. What do you got for us?
Lay it on us.
There was a $100 million purchase to end the saga over 1 square mile of land in Grand Teton National Park.
Yes.
I know Patty's talked to me about this before.
Yep.
The piece of land is called the Kelly parcel. And if you convert it, it's 1 square mile. Us being from the country in Indiana, we can picture a square mile.
Yes, we can.
It converts to around 640 acres, and it's in the state of Wyoming.
$100 million for 640 acres.
It's not the shape of a square mile.
No, it actually is, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
One big square.
Where's that thing at?
They say it's in Grand Teton National Park, but it's technically surrounded on 3 sides of the park boundary, and then the 4th side is Bridger Teton National Forest. And remember seeing that elk reserve or refuge?
Yep.
Yeah.
That like a corner of that touches it too.
All right.
So we drove. I guarantee we drove by this parcel of land.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. The Kelly parcel and 3.4 million other surface acres in Wyoming are part of their school trust land. So they use money from this trust for K through 12, like public schools in Wyoming.
All right.
Yeah.
Like for education purposes?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
okay.
I think just everything.
Okay.
Because part of it seems like it's kind of managed by like the superintendent of the school system.
Yeah, you're selling me.
How does that work? Like, what's the money flow on that?
I think leasing out oil pumps or oil wells, grazing rights, leasing out like grazing, just all kinds of things that can happen on that land. Because they're not necessarily like parkland or anything. I mean, they're not parkland because the state owns them.
Yeah.
So they can do whatever they want with it. Speaking of, this story, it gets deeper and deeper the more you look into it, and it's super confusing. But if anyone's ever been to that area, this property's just like southeast of Jenny Lake, and it's right at the foothills of the Tetons. So it's
I'm familiar.
like amazing piece of property.
Yeah.
A good looker.
So on December 30th, the Department of Interior and Grand Teton National Park announced that they had purchased the parcel of land from the state of Wyoming. And one reason this is so important in the greater Yellowstone ecosystem is it's used by like the normal animals you would think: elk, moose, bison, grizzlies. But what's cool about it is, according to the National Park Service, this property is the starting point for the path of the pronghorn.
Whoa.
The longest land migration in the lower 48.
Pronghorn deer?
Yeah.
Like the deer that I get in Red Dead Redemption 2?
Yeah.
Yo.
They got short little
Yeah.
antlers.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm feeling this story.
Yeah. So we've talked about the Land and Water Conservation Fund before,
Yeah.
where we're, like, getting money from leasing offshore oil rigs. So $62.4 million of this $100 million purchase is coming from that fund. And then the remaining balance is coming from the Grand Teton National Park Foundation. Because I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Wyoming, and specifically Jackson, that area, is the highest per capita of billionaires in the country.
Yeah. I think Kirsten was telling us that.
So I'm sure they also don't want that property to be developed, which is what could have happened if the state.
Oh, yeah.
Because at one point, the state, it seemed kind of like a threat to the government. They said they were going to just auction it off to the highest bidder. And that highest bidder would have developed that property for
Absolutely.
Because it's like some of the most prime real estate there is.
Or one of them billionaires would have been like, hey, buddies, we got to buy this land.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it seems like they might. I think what he's saying is they might have done that through these funds, maybe donated. Maybe they were getting some super funds or donating quite a bit of money
Some nice blank
to be
checks.
able to
Yeah.
preserve that land.
But it is funny because the state treasurer was talking about how much money this could turn into by investing it and stuff for the school system. However, like the state said, they may initially invest the money in oil and gas development because, you got to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they're, yeah.
But
Yep.
it is, they're investing
make
it
that
probably
money,
for
man.
a return. And I'm sure they're getting something for doing that. The whole story of this piece of property is just super confusing. It's all about mineral rights and surface rights, and then just greedy politicians. Like there's some of the politicians wanted to do a land swap for this like 640 acres for a piece of property that's BLM land. It's over 100,000 acres. And it's like in the primo natural gas and oil. Wyoming's like, that's where that stuff's at.
Yeah.
And this was like a primo spot for that. So like one of the reasons this kept failing and falling through was this committee led by the superintendent. It was an interesting, I couldn't tell if they were the superintendent of the school system, because it's like, Wyoming
interesting-
Superintendent of Public Instruction,
Okay, that's a title.
who she has like professional and family ties to the oil and gas industry.
Oh, joy.
So her little subcommittee has been like the one saying they want to trade land, or like we want to be able to get more money out of this.
Yeah.
So they've been kind of killing this deal, which maybe they're fighting for their citizens of Wyoming. Yeah, that'd be cool if that's all it was.
Was that an elected position?
I think so.
Okay.
That's why I'm wondering if it's like the position that's in charge of all the schools, the school system, like Department of Education of the state. I think that might be what it is.
That's a weird way to say it.
But what's funny too is, remember we were talking about that lawsuit that Utah filed with the Supreme Court?
Yeah.
So now a lot of the politicians are saying, like, maybe we need to hold on and see how this lawsuit plays out, because we could be getting this BLM land anyways.
Oh.
And not have to sell this Kelly parcel, or we can do whatever we want with it. And like the $100 million won't mean shit if we get all this BLM land that we can then lease out for all these oil wells.
Yeah, and you were saying earlier in the day that just because they made the deal for the $100 million, that they have a few weeks to be able to take that.
Yeah, and it may even be more than a few weeks. Like they could end up suing the BLM land themselves, or they can appeal the the final purchase decision.
Oh, good Lord.
Because I think it was like a governor
it's so
or a
complicated.
treasurer.
Bureaucratic nonsense.
That's what I'm
dude.
saying. This story, like I said earlier, the state owns all this land for their school systems. But in 2010, they sold like 3 or 4 more parcels of mineral rights and surface rights. And the Kelly parcel was, I think, originally part of that 2010 deal. And it got carved out for some reason. And that's why like they're still dealing with it today. And that's why I don't understand why why not just hang on to it? I don't know what the pressure to sell. Maybe the government's pressuring them to sell it.
But is it Tetons, they're going to be able to secure that land, basically?
Yeah, for now, yeah. Like there's a deal in place to buy it for $100 million.
So I was talking to him earlier, and like the vibe I got was like I should be happy about this story. Like that's the feeling I get, is that we talked last week or the week prior that if the federal government does so well with their national parks and maintaining their lands, that they want to buy this land, like for sure. Like I would rather that than the state own it, that they can turn it into condominiums or whatever it is.
Sell it to the highest bidder.
Sell it to the highest bidder because of the fact that states can amend laws all the time and those sorts of things. So it just, to me, this is a great story. Now, I hope that if it's not 3 weeks or longer, if it is 3 weeks, that at some point this stands, and then I'll be like a lot more happy.
Yeah, there's
that
just nothing definitive right now.
Yeah, so you're kind of like, here
comes litigation in the court system and all that.
And
exactly.
I did read that they're trying to push it through before the administration change over, because then they don't know what could happen after that.
Well,
so they're trying to get it done by then.
Yeah, not to get political, but I definitely think that there is some sort of concern going on with the next administration. So,
well, what's funny
good
too
for them
is, remember when in the Utah thing we were talking about, it's a slippery slope where if they get BLM land, that could lead to everything else.
Yeah.
Well, along with Utah's filing, Wyoming filed an amicus brief, which just kind of means. I looked it up, and it was kind of like, I'm just throwing my 2 cents in along with this. Like, it doesn't really mean anything, but it gives the initial filing some support.
This is what we're thinking.
Yeah. Amicus.
Oh, amicus.
What did you say? Amicus?
Yeah. Jeez. Cut.
No, dude, that was great.
They filed that in support of the land seizure, and 26 members of the legislature went even further, seeking parks, monuments, wilderness, and other classes of federal land.
And this is what happens.
Yeah.
Once you set that precedence, I talk about precedence in my normal life all the farting time. And when you set that precedence, it just opens up the door to be able to push it further.
You give away one freedom, they're going to be like, maybe
that's
we can get another one.
Every person on this
earth
earth is afraid of their government doing that, and that's what this is to me.
Yeah.
It just doesn't stop at the part where it makes sense. It keeps going past that.
But then they spin it in a way to make enough people say, I think
you
they're
know
right.
what? I kind of agree.
This will benefit the community.
All right, so the second story is a little shorter one, a nice, good story. And it was hard to choose this because there was quite a few good stories this week. And like Jimmy Carter's being laid to rest at Jimmy Carter National Historic Site.
R.I.P., dude.
Yep, getting laid to rest next to his wife. And he's one of the few presidents that got a national park named after him.
He was still building houses like last year.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know.
I think he was. The guy is insanely awesome. Very not liked as a president. I believe one of the lowest approval ratings ever, but misunderstood.
Yeah. He oversaw, his administration oversaw the creation of 39 national park units.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I think that's probably why he got a national park.
Can we get a round of applause?
Yeah. Oh. Cheerio.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Jimmy.
Way to go, Jimmy.
So there's also volcanic activity under the Yellowstone's massive caldera.
What?
That was another news story.
What did we just do?
I'm just talking all the news stories that I had to decide from. Just.
Oh, this isn't recording?
Yeah. No,
we are recording.
Oh, my Lord.
Where you at, dog?
I don't know.
Did the clapping
I thought we were going to go with Jimmy Carter for a minute, and now we're on this.
This was supposed to be one. These are just a quick list of all the crazy shit that happened in the last week that we could have talked about.
There's a lot of good stories.
You succeeded, sir. This is a crazy shit of all the news stories that happened. Because I went from kind of sad and happy sad to terrified.
So the story I couldn't pass up
takes
place all the way at Zimbabwe Mutasadana National Park.
Nice.
So on December 27th, it's going to start off a little scary. So
Okay.
be ready.
Okay.
On December 27th, 2 days after Christmas, a 7-year-old went missing from his village and was not found for 5 days.
Oh, yeah, this is starting terrible.
So right away, park rangers,
3
police
days?
officers, and local community organized a large effort to find him, but there was torrential downpours that kept stopping them from looking for him.
Okay.
So come December 30th, the search party discovered human footprints, which led them to finding the boy the next day.
Oh, thank gosh.
So what's crazy is this park, it's a wildlife conservation park. So it's full of lions, elephants, hippos, like it's the African
the savannah.
safari.
Everything that does not want a human to be around it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At one point, this had the densest population in all of Africa, and it had black rhinos, but I think they lost all their black rhinos.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they found the kid. He survived by eating wild berries and digging holes next to dried up riverbeds to get water.
How old is he?
7. He's 7
He's
years
7
old.
years old.
Animal.
He walked over 30 miles. They found him 30 miles away.
Holy smokes.
I don't know if it's not instinct. All American children would be dead.
Oh, probably.
5 days.
Yeah.
Well, that's a pretty large statement, but I'm there with you for a good quarter of them. That's for sure. Because I think this, like looking at the photo that our News Panther has up on the screen of this little boy, I see just a boy that's going to wander.
Oh,
man.
Like my son
Oh, yeah.
at that age could have wandered for 100 miles and not not stopped.
Except this picture, you can tell this boy's seen some shit.
Yeah, This
He does kind of have a 1,000-yard stare.
Yeah.
this kid's lived a life.
Yeah.
Oh,
Look at
man.
that kid, man. That's crazy.
I can't wait till he's old enough to write a book.
That's a wild story. Yeah.
That is going to be a crazy book because the entire like retrospective look at it is going to be through a 7-year-old's
Oh,
eyes. You
yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah, that sounds like an
I
incredible
saw
book.
fire-breathing dragons. Oh, there he is. There he is. Dude, those were 2 great stories. Thanks for once
Yeah.
again building us down.
Yeah, Brad,
Yeah.
your stories
And then
are
building
super
us up.
interesting.
Yeah.
The Tetons, I'm psyched about that.
Yeah, it's pretty
can't help
cool.
it.
Yeah.
I for right
I'm
now, I'm going to
positive.
reserve my positivity
I'm
for that.
positive.
Yeah,
'Cause
I'd say
If
it's probably
something
gonna
if
be
something
fine.
fucks that up though, if they do come in and corruption takes over or something along those lines, I'm going to be sorely disappointed as much as I've been sorely disappointed in the last 4 months of my life.
All right. The News Panther is telling us to get to the topic at hand.
Yeah, it is.
Food. We love it. We need it. When you're pounding out those miles all day on the trail, you're going to burn up calories like Michael Phelps in Beijing. But on scenic walks through the backcountry, you're not going to be able to bring a picnic basket with wine and a charcuterie board with deluxe meats and fine cheeses. You're only going to want to take what your body will need, and you're going to want to keep it light and tidy.
Yep.
Fellas, actually, Patrick, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you're thinking about trail food?
Freeze-dried meals.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean,
Definitely.
that's the first thing that comes to my mind. It's fun to shop for. It's fun to see all the different varieties, especially at an REI, where they just have like a couple, maybe over 10 different brands and lots of different choices between your breakfasts, your lunches, and your dinners, and some snacks, even some desserts. My son got cookies.
Oh, the menu's
freeze-dried
huge.
cookies. Yeah, the menu's pretty large. They're a bit expensive. I mean, you could spend like $13 on a dinner, maybe a little bit more for each dinner. So it does get a bit expensive compared to just freeze drying your own food. But if you're like me that doesn't have my own, not freeze dry, dehydrator, if you don't have your own dehydrator, then this is just the way to go. They're lightweight. If you repack those, what Brad taught me on the last trails, you can take those out of the bag that they come in, the sealed bags, and put those into Ziplocs, so you can just roll those up nice and tight. I fit eight meals into my bear canister.
And that is the other thing is they come in a pouch that you can cook them in.
Yeah, you just pour hot water
If you-
from your
yeah, if
jet
you want
boil
to.
or a pot or something straight into those, and you can eat straight out of that.
The
So
food just rehydrates. and-
yeah,
You know, another thing I don't get, they say about backpacking food is you want to like around 2 pounds of food a day
Yeah.
is what you should kind of roughly aim for.
Yeah.
And I've done that many times just to be on the safe side. And I come home with a quarter of my food.
Does that
Yeah.
now? What if you weigh it when it's hydrated?
I think
No,
it's like pack weight.
Really?
Yeah, it's pack
Yeah.
weight. Yeah.
But would that make a big difference if
Oh,
you took
yeah.
more like freeze dried foods?
That's why it's just kind of like a
Then-
general rule of thumb.
Yeah.
Because you're not supposed to take a can of SpaghettiOs anyways.
Yeah.
Oh man, but wouldn't that be good?
That would be good. But volume, no way.
Yeah.
But that also, I mean, like food, it also entails like your snacks. Like
Oh,
all the
yeah,
things,
there's
everything
far
you're
more than
packing
just
into your
granola
hip belt or
bars.
Yeah.
your bear canister or your food sack. That's what food weight is. So it's not just dehydrated or freeze dried foods. It's everything for that day should weigh 2 pounds. So your bag of trail mix, your beef jerky, your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner. And I agree with you, Brad.
And whatever extras. You can
Yeah, I'm not telling anybody to not do that, to not bring enough food, but it certainly seems
Snickers.
like that sort of premise really,
Yeah.
like you end up bringing a lot.
Like I'll
of food.
probably still kind of do it just because you always want to bring an extra day's worth of food anyways.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it
I
just is what it is.
I feel like ultimately you need some sort of point like that 2 pounds a
aim
day
for.
to aim
Yeah.
for, because you never really know once you're getting started how much you're going to eat out there, how hungry you're going to be.
It is a
So
good rule of thumb.
you definitely want to do some trial runs. How much do I eat in a day to where I still, I'm comfortable?
Yeah, like I don't know about you guys, but like I know that like one of the meals I always pack for is lunch, obviously. But like I don't like lunch or like stopping on trail in the middle of the day. Like I'm all about taking it slow. Everybody knows that, like slow and easy, turn around, look at the views, stop for a while and look at things. But like me stopping, getting my jet boil out or pulling the tortillas out of the bottom of my bear canister and smearing peanut, like it just doesn't sound appealing to me. So what I generally do is like I don't really snack as I'm hiking. I'll take breaks and pull out the bag of trail mix out of my hip belt, and I'll eat that while I'm looking at awesome shit. And then once we're ready to go, I put that away, take a drink, and we're off to the races until the
Yeah,
meal.
yeah.
So I
think
never
we're-
really eat the lunch.
I think we're all sort of on that same level, because
Yeah.
I always take a short break at lunch. So for me, I always think of that quote on Blade Runner, the new one, where he's just like, he asked him if he wanted a bite to eat or something. He's just like, no thanks, I don't eat until the hard part of the day is over. And I was like, that's
That is
kind of how I
yeah.
am in my
Yeah,
daily life.
that's cool,
I don't
yeah.
eat a big breakfast. I might grab something small, but
Yeah.
I'm not gonna, because it kind of weighs you down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At work, if you have a big lunch, the rest of the day is gonna drag.
Yeah.
So what do you guys pack for breakfast? Like let's start at square one. What are you packing for breakfast?
I generally go with just an instant oatmeal. Historically Quaker, because that's what I grew up on.
Yeah.
But I've recently made the switch to Kodiak.
Oh, I made that switch, dude.
And yeah, it's like I feel like that it always lives up to the hype.
Kodiak's like the higher protein oatmeal.
Yeah, it's just kind of like a better quality overall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's nice. Usually the mornings are chilly and you have something warm, hot to kind of warm you up.
Yeah.
It always tastes good. You can add all kinds of stuff to it, like dried fruit, almond butter, like all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's like the tip we've talked about is a packet of Justin's almond butter, and that is beautiful. And you're getting more calories, more protein.
Yeah, I believe that's the tip you learned on the app trail.
Yeah.
It's an
Yeah.
easy add-on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right on.
What about you, Travis?
I'm definitely an oatmeal guy, but I think I'll probably stay with the Quakers forever because of the nostalgia, and for some reason
Why does this not surprise me?
I don't know why.
I mean, the
love it.
apple cinnamon, those little apples.
Dude,
Oh,
banana.
all of them.
Banana.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
But the thing that I look forward to the most, like as soon as my eyes open inside of that tent, I'm just thinking coffee.
Oh,
Coffee,
yeah.
coffee.
Yeah, I
coffee.
didn't say that. Yeah, definitely
And
coffee.
when it's, the sun hasn't quite come up, all the way, and you're sitting there. It's cool in the morning, and having that nice warm cup of coffee, just sitting on it. I'm not worried about packing up my gear quite yet.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm just chilling.
Yeah.
And you used to have it good because we used to share a jet boil, and I would bring fresh ground coffee on every trip we went on.
Yeah, didn't you bring like a French press or something?
The jet boil has like a little French
Yep.
press attachment.
Yep.
And it's simple as hell, but it works great. So you also got
And
like
I don't care if there's any grinds in it,
Yeah.
that get through. It don't
so
matter.
you got like actual coffee, but now
Nice.
I switched to instant because coffee grinds. It is a very nice treat to have like good coffee,
Yeah.
but the grinds are just a pain in the ass.
It's not that, but I am kind of like a coffee whore. If I run out of coffee in the morning, I will go to the nearest gas station. I don't care what
Yeah.
that shit tastes like.
That's how
it's
that's how my
coffee.
wife is.
I'll put some half and half in it, and it'll
Yeah.
be decent coffee.
Yeah.
But
Dude,
yeah,
interestingly, I was just talking with Ricky about coffee, and he said that the best way, the best way to drink coffee is through a jet boil with the water, because he said that the best coffee is brewed over something like 200 degrees, the water, like boiling water. In your normal coffee pot or your Keurig or an espresso, it doesn't actually get water that hot.
yeah, I've heard that before.
Right? So a jet boil, because it gets boiling, and then he told me, and I agree, this is the coffee I take, is the instant coffee, the Starbucks Pike Place Market.
That's what I take.
That coffee, I think like that's because you can buy that little jar of the instant coffee, and it's
Yeah.
like a perfect amount for a week long out, So he was saying that like that actually like just amps up the how good your coffee is while you're sitting outside your tent, your nose is cold, and you know what's about to come. It's just like another level of good is that it's actually releasing all the flavors at that above 200 degrees. So that's pretty interesting.
That's usually when we set up camp, and once we get our tent set up, I normally make a cup of coffee too at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And it's a nice treat
Oh
before
yeah,
dinner.
that's real nice too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so for you guys that don't know, the jet boil is just a water boiling system, all in one system that you can get for backpackers. It's very great for entry level.
It throws a crazy flame and it boils water in like under a minute.
It uses
100 seconds to be exact is what
that's
Joel
over a minute.
says. Yes.
small fuel canisters.
Yep. Yeah. We're going to get into it in the next episode, some of the ways that you can cook, or some of the ways that we cook on trail. That's for sure.
What's your breakfast, Patty?
Dude, I'm gonna go with the same. It's oatmeal. I actually did make that transition from Quaker into the Kodiak.
Yeah, you convinced me to.
Yeah, Kodiak's just deeper. It's a thick. I mean, like it is you feel the difference.
You still have the flavors.
Dude, it's luscious.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Dude,
gorgeous flavors.
Their chocolate chip one is like a dessert.
That's the one I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I know they have an apple cinnamon, and then they have like a brown sugar one, and they're all It's all just really good. And so that's going to be mine. You can add more stuff to it. I never really add anything. I know the almond butter. I've never done that. I'm fine with just the hot meal, because I think I'm a mixture of both, where I'm super excited about the oatmeal just to get that nourishment in me and get going. I'm the guy that has all my shit packed before I leave my tent. So when I'm having my coffee and oatmeal, it's like the last thing I'm doing before we're heading out.
Yeah, and I also think that it's important to get a warm meal in the morning.
Oh yeah, dude.
Because it warms you up, and it gives you that.
Sets on you.
Yeah, like you look forward to.
Go burn
motivate
enough.
you.
There's certainly other options
Morale's
though
higher.
for a breakfast other than oatmeal. It's just it's when you're
Easiest.
talking about volume and when you're talking about weight, and it is just the
And it's
easiest.
already individually packed.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah,
I
it's
do
pretty
repack
great.
it all. I do repack it all into
Oh, do you?
Ziplocs. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you guys did that last time around.
Yep.
I pack every food for every. I'll separate trail mix into like 5-day
Yep.
snack bags.
Yep, me
Like
too.
I'll have an exact portion of everything for every day.
And is that because of the 2 pound rule? Because so then you can be like, all right, I know the boom, 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 2 pounds, I'm there.
That, and I know like I should eat this whole bag of trail mix today.
Right.
And I know how much I have. I know I have enough for tomorrow and the next day and the next day. Like I know I can't run out. And I'm also not carrying too much, wasting weight.
Well, I think that just brings up the importance of snacks. For me, like I get more psyched about the amount of snacks that I bring. Brad was sick as fuck on the trail, and we finally stopped at what Death Canyon Shelf.
It was when I was recovering from altitude. I'd been throwing up for about 5 hours that day.
Dude, I feel so fucking bad, but like
just got on his feet.
It was the perfect time where I got to like we stopped for a snack. We stopped so he didn't vomit everywhere.
We were like at the end of a canyon.
We were at Death Canyon Shelf. Yeah, it was absolutely stunning. And then we got to see if like we could see you at the bottom. So for me, I got to like stop and like have kind of my I don't know, forbidden fruit or the treat, the treat on trail. Yeah. So I stopped and opened a jar of anchovies. It's certainly not what you want to bring on trail. Yeah. It's quite a bit heavier than
like
anything.
A wind gust
it's
hit.
A little brick.
It's a little brick. Yeah.
A wind gust hit just right, and like I got a huge whiff of it, and I almost started throwing up all over again.
Man, I couldn't imagine.
Oh, dude, it's great. But So for me, like if I'm not going to have the lunch, and I'm starting to realize that more and more that I'm just not going to have the lunch, but that also means that I'm going to stop and sit down and open up a bag and I'm going to have a snack. So I want to make that kind of more fun for myself. So this time I brought anchovies. Or what was it? Sardines. And I don't think that's going to fly for the next time because I don't want Brad to just be pissed the whole time. But yeah, I don't know, like in terms of one specific thing that I would pick. I'm just going to be at the grocery store and I'm going to look for the coolest, kind of like this is going to be like that thing I have for lunch, as opposed to packing like what did we do last time? It was tortillas and peanut butter.
Oh yeah.
Peanut butter packets or something like
I've
that.
Never done that.
You guys,
or that's
cut
what
up
I
the
did
little
the last
pita
time.
bread or something.
No, it was tortillas because in a bear canister, the thought process was you could just shove those down in the bottom of the bear canister and they're not going to take up any space. And then you get a couple packets of the squeeze out peanut butter, and that's what you can have for lunch. And
there you go.
Like that sounds great. Like I love peanut butter, and I happen to love tortillas, so it's wonderful. But if I could just mix up my snack to make that even better, then I would just do that.
I feel like sardines is more glamorous than that.
Oh, dude, and it was stunning.
Peanut butter rolled in a tortilla.
They were great Swedish sardines. Like this was no slouch canister of sardines.
Kroger sardines?
No. They were gorgeous and they were full. So I mean, like if Brad wasn't sick as fuck, I imagine.
I wouldn't have gave a shit if I hadn't been throwing up all day.
Yeah, it was rude of me, and he was downwind.
Well, and Patrick
it was perfect.
Yeah,
Patrick.
Like he did. Yeah, like I may not have even thought about it.
I mean, a cartoon.
Yeah. What do you do? So what are you doing for your lunch?
I recently started packing little pita breads that are kind of like the size of a street shell or a street taco shell.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
And they're little pita breads. And then I'll bring some salami and either provolone or pepperoni cheese and just have like a little mini charcuterie board right there on the trail. Everything says that the cheese and the meat are fine after, for multiple days because salami's cured, hard cheese is shelf stable.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like the salami gets a little funky sometimes, and I don't know why it is.
Yeah.
So I like kind of pack that for the first 3 days, and then have just like a kind protein bar and some trail mix, maybe like a Snickers bar, maybe.
Yeah.
But what's nice too, if you have any pita bread left over when you're having dinner, you can toast it on your flame of your jet boil and like dip it in your Mountain House or like your freeze dried meal.
Bread to dip in your soup.
Get out, dude.
I think pita breads, that's like that's a good thing to bring.
Yeah.
It's carbs, like it's
agreed.
And it's more filling than a tortilla.
Yeah, like tortillas when they get wet and like soggy and you're chewing them, it's just so gross.
Yeah.
And a pita bread, like it's more like bread.
Yeah.
What do you do, Travis?
I think I kind of keep it pretty plain for lunch. I'll definitely, because I need to get as many calories as I possibly can, because I don't have any weight to lose, because I'm already pretty slim. So I'm always worried about that and making sure that I have enough super dense like calories. So even at lunchtime, I probably do kind of eat. I keep it, I guess, lighter,
Yeah.
but it'll be quite a few handfuls of trail mix, and then I'll get out some of that hillbilly beef jerky from Lingrich Meats. If I find that
Ooh.
stuff, I buy it up. It's so good because it's not chewy or nothing. It's easy to eat. Comes in these more like strips or
Yeah.
ropes
Yeah.
than.
That's where, like, I may give you Snickers bars, but you give me one of these beef jerky treats.
Yeah, it's a
usually
barter
at
system out there.
lunchtime.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sharing's caring.
So yeah, I'll eat that, and then I always like to have a little sweet treat after my, salty snacks. So I'll have some of that. I always bring dark chocolate. I'll bring
Oh,
a couple
yeah.
of those. I don't even know what you would.
Giardelli.
Giardelli. Yeah, they're just, like stamped.
Yeah, squares.
Yeah.
Darn
And then
right.
I'll
Right? Is
have
that
one
not
of
the name?
those,
Giardelli?
Yeah.
Yeah.
or I'll have two of those. Like I'll give myself two of those a day just to make sure they last all the way
And
through
he'll
the
snap
trip.
me off a square too.
Oh, yeah, there's
nice.
enough to give out, but yeah, I absolutely love that dark chocolate, and it's just dense with whatever the hell those people on the website told me was in there.
That's why I think I like a salami and a strong cheese, because for some reason in the middle of the day, like having maybe you too with the sardines,
Yeah.
like having something with some flavor, like it just kind of gives me a boost. for
Yeah,
the second
yeah,
half
yeah.
of the day.
Yeah, I want a little, I mean, like you're tired, and then you also know you still have another half a day.
Yeah.
So I think that delicacy is just like, or
Delicatessen.
delicatessen is a deli.
Delicacy?
The delicacy, having that in the middle of the day is just nice, especially also because generally when we choose to take a break in the middle of the day, it's always like, this is a prime breaking
yeah.
area.
Yeah.
So to add to that ambiance of the space that you're in, you have a really nice treat.
Yeah, it's not
It's
based.
nice.
It's not based on time or hunger level or
No,
water
no.
source. It's like, this is an awesome spot.
I think mentally it's just nice to do it. So if you're out there and that's what if you're worried about your lunch, man,
And it's
that is
kind
an
of
important thing.
Really the only time you take off your pack and you don't have to worry about
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
like setting up a tent.
No.
Or in the morning you have
Yeah.
to worry about tearing down the tent. It's the
Yeah.
only time you stop during the day
Yeah.
where you don't have chores to do.
Yep.
And so you can just get your food out and chill and eat. And,
Agreed.
And sometimes we don't even say anything to each other.
Oh,
We
yeah,
just-
we don't. Yeah.
So
Or like, look at that bird over there. That's about all we'll say.
what are some of the other considerations you guys make when picking your foods? And we've talked about breakfast, we've talked about snacks, we've talked about lunches, but what are the considerations that you guys like? What are they?
You're given, we've talked about the freeze dried meals with, all that. And then there's all this other stuff that you're adding to it for your snacks and your luxury stuff. And, we got to consider weight. We got to consider volume. How's it going to fit in our pack? Do I need more of this than this and all that kind
Are
of
you going
stuff?
to cook it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's just you wouldn't think there's a lot to consider, but there really is. You've got, especially if you're going to be out there for an extended period of time, 5 days or so. That's a lot of food you're taking with you,
Yeah.
and you don't want to leave yourself short in some areas and not others, and have too much of something you didn't really need.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
So yeah, there's a lot to consider. What do you consider, Bradley?
My number one concern, because like we were kind of talking about before, I never really have an appetite in the morning or an appetite at lunch. Like in my normal life, I don't eat until I may have a little light snack, and then I eat a tiny bit for lunch, and then I don't really eat until dinner. So my main thing is just that it's something that I want, that I enjoy, that's appetizing,
Yeah.
and to make sure I am getting calories, just
Yeah.
because usually I don't have an appetite.
Yeah.
I don't really want to eat.
I don't really have that. I don't know. My relationship with food on the trail is much different than my civilian, relationship
Yeah.
with food. I don't care so much about flavor. I'm just so worried about getting calories. It's almost like a chore, to eat instead of like just sitting down and relaxing, because my relaxing is getting all of that out of the way and then just enjoying where I am.
Yeah, it's crazy that you mentioned calories, because I wonder, like, how many calories are you actually getting? Like, how much, because you're only bringing a bear canister or a bear bag, So I wonder how much, if you're talking about 2 pounds a day, then how much calories are you actually getting? Like, how are you packing your foods that you're getting in? Like, what's a high calorie intake for you?
Yeah.
What is it?
For me, I would like if I'm trying to build mass.
No, I'm talking about on trail.
Well, I'm using this as reference.
Yeah. Okay.
It'd be like 2,500 calories.
2,500.
Yeah, so that's a lot.
Wow. Holy shit. So
and
you're not getting anywhere close to that on trail.
Oh no, I'm guaranteed to lose weight on the trail.
Everyone
I could
is.
not carry enough food in my pack to maintain.
So are you more concerned about calories, or are you looking at that protein?
Yeah, I really just try and stuff it in there.
Damn.
I'll throw in extra meals.
Yeah,
and
cool.
Extra snacks and stuff like that.
For the listeners out there, Travis is one of those people that can eat and eat and eat and never can't gain weight.
Yeah, a little skinny mini.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So being in America's and having this physique is pretty awesome because I can eat everything and never get a pound. But yeah, we have that DNA in our family. We're all just skinny farmers out there with wiry arms and so
farmer stands.
Yeah, but I do worry about losing weight because I don't want to get any skinnier than I am now, and carrying all that weight, burning all those calories. That's a concern. So I stuff her full
for sure. Yeah.
So what are your considerations, Patty?
Well, I think for me, it's like everyone. Like I want the volume of my food, the weight of my food, in the places that I've been recently.
Which ultimately everybody should be considering.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in most cases, you have a food sack or you have a bear canister, and those only have so much space in them.
Yeah.
Bear canister specifically has only a certain amount of space. Especially for when you're buying a bear canister, you have to buy on how many days you're going to be out. I think that's like how it's measured is this size is going to be for this amount of days. This size will be for another amount of days. So you get very specific with that. And then you have to fit everything within this hard plastic container. So I think volume and then weight does make a big difference in how you're going to pack your food and what foods you're choosing. So I think we can all agree on that for sure.
Absolutely.
So I'll take it to another level that we haven't discussed yet when it comes to food, and that's the dinners. For me, you're off trail. You're in your jammies, your base layers, got your coat on. It's getting a little chilly willy outside because the sun's going beneath the mountains. Got your camp chair out. You're hanging out, talking about the day and all the hard work you just put in. Your shoulders are feeling sore, but also fucking gorgeous.
How awesome of a water source we have.
How awesome if you're lucky enough to have a water source at camp. So for me, one of the hugest things I'm worried about is my dinner. I want that thing to be like I get the meals for the 2 people, not the 1P. I want the biggest amount of shit. I want to fill up, and I want to take a nappy nap in my warm sleeping bag with a full ass belly. It's gorgeous.
By 6 p.m.
Yeah. I'm definitely quick to it, homie. I have all that shit. I mean, I have all my shit set up, and then I have my dinner. You know what I mean?
Lightning quick.
Dude, I like that part of the day where you know that hard work's over. I want to stretch my legs out. I want to put my warm comfies on, get in my sleeping bag. You know, my sleeping bag's locked in, so I want to be on that, and I just want to lay down and watch a movie or listen to a book and follow, or just listen to the sounds around me. Listen to Brad crinkling around on his old sleeping pad,
tinkering
about something, and like kind of talking to himself, like, "Come on, let me just do this now."
I don't talk to myself.
Bullshit, he doesn't
Why
talk
is
to
this
himself.
Not working?
I definitely don't.
I've heard you talk to yourself.
You're full of shit.
That's not true. So, like in terms of dinner, I look for those massive calories. I look for something warm and cozy. Generally, like the dinners I go with are always the dehydrated foods, but it's always like the pastas. You can get like different rices and other things like that, but the beef stroganoff, the chicken Alfredo, those things, I'm all about it. And then a hot cup of tea, like chamomile at the end of the night, just to calm your body, get that down. It's just really the most important thing for me, dude.
Yeah.
Well, what do you guys? Are you dinner people? Are you feeling my vibe here?
Oh yeah, this is the meal of the day right here.
It is to you as well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
What about you, Travie J?
Well, like I said before, like I I guess I don't really have that relationship with food.
Wait, so
that on the trail.
So you're just purely like, I could give you shit on a stick and you'd be like, is that high in calories? And you'd be like, that's what I want. Like, you don't go to the REI and you look at the selection of 20 different dinners and you're not like, this one sounds good. Like,
I do. I definitely like the beef stroganoff, and I do want to get me a big thing of mac and cheese.
Yeah.
Because that's always
Lord,
good.
man.
And really, mac and cheese, it doesn't really matter how it's made.
No, man.
It's always welcome here.
Agreed. Agreed.
But yeah, I make my decisions on the things. I want to get a variety so I'm not getting too bored. But I want to get that thing heated up and get it eaten, then I can move on with it.
Oh, you guys are all like fuel up so I can tinker for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And then stay awake and look at the stars. I want to get fueled up because I love that slumber that comes after a big hungry meal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I understand that too.
Laying in my bed, snoring, my face scaring all the bears and wolves away.
Watching football on Thanksgiving.
Oh, man. Just snoozing with your hands down in front of your pants, dude. Al Bundy style. Oh, man. I love it, dude.
But it definitely is important to, have that meal because you do, I think everybody would be like, damn, I'm hungry as hell. Like, you definitely want to eat.
Well, yeah. And it's also like the social thing. Like, when you're sitting around at the end of the night, you just experience this, which no matter what, if you're on trail with another individual, that is a bonding experience because you push yourself, you push each other, you go through some shit no matter what on trail, you go through soreness. So when you're finally done with that day and you have that time to kind of sit around and share that story, some people bring bourbon, some people bring, like Pat's has a dehydrated beer that you could take up there.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so it's just, there's everybody, and when you think about, you just bought lights for the camp. Oh, so everybody, you guys like tinkering at camp because I imagine you want that experience to be better and better and better.
You like a good-looking camp.
Yeah, you like it, and part of that is sitting around a fire if you're allowed, or sitting around your jet boils, sharing those stories in your camp chair if you're not an ultralighter, and you just enjoy that. I think the food comes with it.
On our next trip, we can have fires.
Yeah, I'll get into it later, but like on the next trip too, I want to get more into dehydrating my own foods and making like soups. Soup is something I really want to get into in terms of like a beef and barley dehydrated. You can pack all that and then add warm water, and you have this nutrient-rich soup. So that's going to be something I get into on that next trail as well.
So there's like a ton of variety. Like the things that we've mentioned, it goes far beyond that. And if you go do a little bit of research, the creativity and what people bring in terms of meals and all that, mixing and matching, like the peanut butter and there's things that are far more, that sound far more appetizing than that out there. But yeah, just take a look into it. I mean, you can just run to a sporting goods store and pick up freeze-dried meals real quick, or you can get creative and do whatever the hell you want. But
yeah, I think like it's the longer you get into it. I think when you first get into it, and probably well into a decade into it, you're just going freeze-drieds. It's easier. They have it portioned out for you. Understand,
because it can be frustrating to figure out what you're packing, and the freeze-drieds just makes it like, okay, this is it. Stick it in the thing.
Boom, boom, boom. I'm done. That's how easy that could be if you have the cash for it. But I mean, the more you get into it, I think like we're getting into right now is the dehydrating your own foods and starting to experiment with your own recipes. They have cookbooks out there. You can YouTube recipes. A lot of the YouTubers, backpacking YouTubers, go over what they make for foods. I think it's just the more you get into it, you start diving into, okay, how can I sustain myself because the thing with dehydrated foods is they're expensive.
Yeah, they are.
Like with $13 a pop, and you're buying 3 of those a day, 4 a day.
It almost feels wrong buying them.
It does. So
you're paying for convenience.
You are. And there's a way to do it that's way easier, or more time consuming, but far more cost efficient.
Yeah.
And that's making your own. So that's going to be an interesting journey we take heading into this next trail, is dehydrating our own shit.
Yeah, there's tons to consider.
Well, I said I would try it for you as well, the dehydrator.
Okay.
I'm getting, yeah.
Sweet.
Well, absolutely. I want to see how it all turns out.
And for some reason on the last trip, I had a real problem getting all my food fully hydrated.
Yeah.
And I don't know what was going on.
I wanted to talk with you more about that in the next episode in
We'll
terms
get
of
into
the kettles and the pots we've been looking at.
Yeah.
Ooh, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've talked about just about everything that we can, what we've at least taken out there on the trail. But there's always something a little special, something that maybe you're just going to pack on some extra weight just so you can have that. Brad, what's your little guilty pleasure?
I have kind of two.
Okay.
One you alluded to in the intro is like I always bring candy.
Yeah.
Because that way, for one, it's candy and it's good, like a Snickers bar. Usually a bar, Snickers bar, Mart's bar, but usually Snickers. Because that way, if whatever for lunch or something, if like something just doesn't sound good and you don't want to eat, like a Snickers bar always sounds good.
Yeah.
Or if you don't eat it throughout the day, then it's a good dessert at the end of the night.
But a Snickers bar or a Mars bar, because they're like super calorie dense.
Oh, yeah. And they can like take a beating and survive and still come out in like bar shape form.
You'll find a Snickers bar on your couch like a year later. And
Yeah.
you're like, oh, the wrapper's still sealed? Oh, yeah.
It's good.
And it's just a good treat. And usually if I have extras, then I share them with people. The other thing that I depending on the trip and the location and the altitude and everything, I love to bring some bourbon.
Ooh.
Because like after dinner, I'll just bring enough for like one pour a night. Then maybe like 1 or 2 nights I won't have any. And then I'll have 2 pours the next night. And just chilling out, like looking at the stars, sipping on bourbon. If you're sitting on a beach, whatever it is, that's glorious.
And isn't
eating
it
a
like,
Snickers bar, drinking a bourbon.
for some
That's
reason,
a wonderful answer.
For some reason, you always put it in a bottle that leaks.
Yeah, those like you try to like I always try to find lightweight plastic bottles and they never seal for some reason. So I'm gonna have to figure that out for sure.
Yeah.
Secure that bourbon.
Yeah.
Travis, what about you? I'm curious.
I always thought like that beef jerky was kind of a guilty pleasure, but really it's a necessity.
I think it's a normal pleasure.
Yeah,
Beef jerky is what go-to.
I think most of the things I bring are normal pleasures, but this last trip I found these little packets of olives.
Oh yeah, I
in the dry section, and there were different flavors like jalapeno and garlic and like Italian spiced or whatever, and I was like, oh my god, like I found exactly what I was looking for. I love olives. I can just get those in a jar and pound them.
Damn, Skippy.
So yeah, and I was saving those babies for the last day, but I think I went down early. And then on that first camping night, I was like, fuck it, I'm eating these olives. Like,
I need to pick me up.
And it was totally worth it. I'm glad I brought them. So definitely next time I'm finding those olives and bringing those. So I think that would be a guilty pleasure because I don't need to bring them, but I just bring them because I love olives.
Oh, yeah.
But also, this more has to do with water. But if you take I think you'd like to take some liquid IVs or something like that just to add some salts and electrolytes to your water. And the lemon lime liquid IV, it's like Gatorade, that lemon lime Gatorade to me, and I just chug it.
Oh, yeah.
And then I feel guilty about that because I'm drinking too much water. So I got to be careful about that.
There's never enough water. Never.
And then the second bottle, you still get some remnants of that, for a couple bottles.
Yeah, darn right.
The flavor stays behind a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
You leave a little bit of that water in there and dump
yeah.
some more in.
Yeah.
Just so you have a little bit of something in there.
It's funny we all you never talk about it, but everybody ends up kind of doing the same shit because I do that exact same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
What's your? I'm curious about Patty's guilty pleasure.
Yeah, because he brings sardines. I don't know if that's one of his guilty pleasures, but that's a unique item to bring.
Well, that's not necessarily. Yes, that is a guilty pleasure. I know it's for me. Guilty pleasure is I know this weighs a little too much. I know an ultralighter would kick me in the teeth for doing this.
Yeah.
So I bring a nice heavy puck of sardines. So that is very much a guilty pleasure. But for me, I said it earlier. It's a good hot tea.
Yeah.
Just a nice calming lavender or chamomile tea at the end of the night when you're sitting there. I never stay awake long enough to look at the stars.
Do you finish that cup of tea?
Yeah, sometimes not, dude. Sometimes I'll drink it like while I'm laying in my tent and I'm getting a little chilly willy, and I have that nice hot cup of tea, and I'll pour it. I won't drink it all, and I'll pour it out at the end of or in the morning. But just a nice hot tea, in the 1-2 where that you leave the tea bag in it as you're sipping on it, so it's just steeping and steeping and steeping. So by the end of it, it's just like nothing but glorious flavor. Yeah, I'm a tea guy, so
you should reheat
it almost
that in
tastes
the
like
morning.
dirt at that point.
Yeah, almost like dirt at that point. That's my guilty pleasure. I there's nothing better than a calming glass of tea at the end of the evening.
I don't think you should feel so guilty about that though, because it's lightweight. Those tea bags don't weigh anything, so and you're replacing coffee that you would have brought.
Maybe I should
instead.
Well, that is it. I bring enough coffee to probably last a month because I just some days I'm like, fuck it, coffee.
You never know.
Like man. I need another glass while Brad's puking in the woods or while you're tinkering with something else. I'm gonna drink another coffee for sure.
You definitely don't want to run out.
Maybe it's not so guilty. Maybe I should flip those.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
We'll forgive you.
I feel guilty that I ate sardines on trail. If that matters.
Double guilty.
And I think I was also like, oh, great, we're going into grizzly country, and you have sardines all over your hands.
Oh, that was it. I remember he said that, and I was like, oh, fuck. Like, I didn't even think about
your
this.
face smells like fish. When that bear meets you.
I think he said that like in his pissed offness. You know what I mean? Like he's sitting there,
Dad Brad.
Dad Brad. He's just a little pissed. You know, we're about to head into bear country, and you smell like a goddamn sardine.
Like a goddamn rotten salmon.
Oh my God! Were you drinking? What are you?
Your mom is going to be so mad.
Oh goodness gracious!
So I know we all bring little additions to spice meals up a little. What is it that you bring, Patty?
Hot sauce. You got us little jars last time, I believe that was you, or maybe Travis.
Kenders, I learned, makes tiny little squeeze bottles, like 3-ounce bottles of barbecue hot sauce, like all kinds of sauces.
Yeah. And
they're
then
perfect.
And they're good.
They are good, and that was such a fucking I'm a hot sauce fan. I don't like everything. I'm not like a hot guy, but I enjoy.
You're a spice lord?
I'm not. I'm a spice
novice,
apprentice or journeyman. Yeah, I'm a spice journeyman. That's for sure. I do enjoy. I like a despise. You know what I mean? Okay. That's for sure. But being out there in the backcountry, I know you don't translate food like we do, but just yet again, just adding to that little like, ooh, this just warms me up, and it's just another flavor out there in the backcountry as opposed to a bland Cliff Bar or something along those lines. So hot sauce is mine for sure. I would add that shit to oatmeal in the morning if I had enough for sure.
Coffee.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I still want it to taste good when I eat it, Patrick.
Oh, good, because I was getting the vibe that you were just like
solving green.
Yeah. Just shit on a stick, give it to me, and I'll eat it because the calorie intake. So I'm glad you appreciate. Yeah. I'm glad you like a despise.
Yeah, the last time I brought a little bottle of Tabasco.
Oh yeah,
I think that's just kind of a standard hot sauce.
Tabasco is the hot sauce to take, as far as I understand it. It is the classic chili pepper hot sauce, and I condone that.
Oh yeah.
And then if I run across some salt packets, because everything needs a little more salt.
Yeah, that's what I found. Like when you're at a gas station, at Chipotle, McDonald's, whatever, just scoop up a few pepper and salt packets. Those little paper tiny packets, single serving. Yeah, just scoop up some of those.
Yeah.
I do have one good tip to also increase your fat and calorie intake, and it kind of makes food a little better.
Yeah.
Is when I finished one of those tiny little 3-ounce Kinder squeeze bottles of hot sauce, I cleaned it and filled it with olive oil.
Ooh.
So then you can get a little squirt of olive oil in your freeze-dried
Now we're getting wild.
Yeah. Well, that's your calorie talk.
That's good. That's good fat, dude.
Yeah,
that's good
absolutely.
Calories.
Yeah.
And it's easy calories.
Yeah.
For sure. And Like, I never would have thought of that. Like, bringing oil.
I think I saw it
You know?
randomly on some video or something, or like an article about how to spice food up. But it actually does. Like, sometimes it makes the texture better too. For some reason, like I don't know.
Oh,
why,
for sure.
But yeah.
Yeah, you never know what you're gonna get in those freeze dried.
Or my pita
meals
bread.
when you heat those up.
Squirt a little olive oil on that and eat it.
Man,
Boy,
damn,
I'm living
like I was
large.
talking about
you are.
bringing a picnic basket with a charcuterie board, and it sounds like that's what's Brad. That's what Brad is
for
doing.
real.
Except
man.
my it's a bear can, not a what's it called?
A picnic basket.
Picnic basket. It's a bear can.
Would hot sauce and oil mix? Because I'd be curious.
I mean, oil doesn't. If it's hot enough, oil mixes better.
Yeah, because you could also throw like a couple red chili pepper flakes
Oh,
or
yeah.
something along those lines, or keep that old hot sauce in there
Oh.
and just put the oil in
combine
that and
them.
shake that up nice and have a little spicy oil.
There you go.
Make garlic confit.
Yeah, you could definitely.
And use
Yeah,
the garlic. Use the oil for
yeah,
that.
absolutely.
Listen to these trailblazers.
Yeah.
Man.
All right, guys. You think we've said enough about trail food?
Yeah,
I
think
certainly-
we're good.
Yeah, I think we got into enough of it for today. That's for sure.
Yeah, and like I said before, just like when you're looking up recipes, at home on Google, you can just look up trail stuff. There's just so much out there that's available, like with the freeze dried. I don't know how many different brands there are. Mountain House is one of the main ones.
And if you've never, sorry to cut you off, Travis, if you've never had a freeze dried meal before, like just cook one at home.
Yeah.
Use your jet boil or whatever you have,
Yeah.
or just boil the water and
Yep.
like try it
And
at
they're
home.
surprisingly good. Don't be afraid of them.
I don't think we've said that once this
Yeah.
whole time. Like they are surprisingly good.
That's true. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Like we kind of were talking shit about them. We're not talking shit, but they're actually pretty good. Like you'd be shocked.
I think the reason why I'm hesitant to go full bore into that they are good is because of the element of like, if you have one of these at home and you just are like, I'm going to have this instead of my home cooked meal or the meal from a restaurant. Like, I think a lot of what sells those is that it doesn't fucking matter
Yeah,
at
maybe
that point.
maybe
Like,
don't eat breakfast or lunch and go work out and then eat one. at
Yes,
home.
there you go. Yes. Yeah.
It'll never be as good at home as it
Yeah.
is on the trail.
Yeah,
for sure.
that's right. But I mean, like, for sure, no doubt about it, that when on trail, these things are nutrient packed, protein packed, and they are flavorful. And it is a joy to open one of these up and see this bag full of hot food.
Steaming.
It is gorgeous.
Put some hot sauce in it and some salt and pepper.
Oh, man.
Ooh, man, you're
Don't
good.
forget that
olive
Some
oil.
olive oil.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, not a bad meal.
There's gonna be a bear walking around the corner with a white towel hanging over its arm.
All right, you guys ready to get out of here?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, good podcast tonight.
Yes.
And we'll get back with you next week.
Absolutely.
And we'll see you later. Keep on sauntering.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
Yeah.